The church in Corinth was established by Paul during his second missionary journey. In the book of Acts, we see that Paul spent a year and a half preaching in Corinth. At that time, Corinth was the capital of the Roman province of Achaia, where the governor resided. Geographically located on the narrow isthmus connecting the mainland of Greece and the Peloponnese Peninsula, Corinth was a bustling city both commercially and politically. Its strategic location made it a key transit point for trade, as people traveling between the north and south of Greece, as well as from east to west, had to pass through Corinth. The city had two ports, Centriae and Lycaeum, through which goods from Italy and Spain entered via the western port, and those from Asia Minor, Phoenicia, and Egypt entered through the eastern port, facilitating vibrant trade. Due to its geographical advantages, Corinth was a major commercial hub with continuous foot traffic, making it an ideal location for spreading the gospel. While in Corinth, Paul worked alongside Priscilla and Aquila, making tents as he preached the gospel. Corinth was a city rampant with idolatry, home to numerous temples dedicated to pagan gods, including the Temple of Aphrodite. The temple housed over 1,000 priestesses, and religious prostitution was prevalent. As a result, the phrase, "to act like a Corinthian," came to mean engaging in immoral behavior. The morally depraved and decadent culture of Corinth even influenced the church, as seen in 1 Corinthians 5, where a member was found to be in a relationship with his father's wife, indicating the presence of immorality, greed, theft, and idolatry within the church. It is believed that Paul wrote several letters addressing the issues in the Corinthian church, but aside from 1 and 2 Corinthians, other letters have not survived. The writing of 1 Corinthians is estimated to have occurred around 53 to 54 AD, while Paul was in Ephesus during his third missionary journey. At that time, the church was divided into factions: Paul's followers, Peter's followers, Apollos' followers, and those who claimed to follow Christ. The congregation was embroiled in disputes over leadership and experienced conflict between the rich and the poor, particularly regarding the exclusion of the poor from the Lord's Supper. Some questioned Paul's prohibition against participating in idol feasts, while others overemphasized the gift of tongues during worship or denied the resurrection of the body. Paul addressed each of these issues through the gospel, emphasizing the message of the cross, living a life in the Spirit, and the future resurrection of believers. Paul pointed out that the Corinthians were still worldly, saying, "You are still of the flesh. For while there is jealousy and strife among you, are you not of the flesh and behaving only in a human way?" The factions and disputes within the church are reflections we still see in churches today, even 2,000 years later. Jude 1:19 states, "It is these who cause divisions, worldly people, devoid of the Spirit." Those who are of the flesh do not have the Spirit of God within them. Therefore, the fleshly person cannot understand the things of the Spirit, because spiritual matters are discerned spiritually. Without the illumination of God's Spirit, one cannot comprehend or receive God's works. What God has prepared for those who love Him is something that has not been seen with the eyes, heard with the ears, or conceived in the heart of man. But God has revealed these things to us through the Spirit. Those who are spiritual and have received God's Spirit can understand the things that God has graciously given us. God has granted us wisdom, power, and the knowledge of the truth, which is the gospel of Jesus Christ. Through the cross of Jesus Christ, we have come to understand the salvation that has been graciously given to us. Paul declares, "For I decided to know nothing among you except Jesus Christ and Him crucified." The message of the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing, but it is the power of God for those being saved. Like the Apostle Paul, may we also resolve to know nothing but Jesus Christ and Him crucified, giving thanks for the salvation graciously given to us. And may you all experience the wisdom and power of Jesus Christ today. In the name of the Lord. I am not ashamed of the gospel, for it is the power of God for salvation to everyone who believes.